All right, people, ADC had just concluded its press conference that is pressing the neck of APC as we speak.
To our dear President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we say respectfully to you, the Nigerian democracy must not be weakened by the very forces that once fought to build it.
To make matters worse, Dino Melaye came with Monday Hammer.
Please take notes. With subsidy, Muhammadu Buhari borrowed 87 trillion in 8 years. Without subsidy, Tinubu, so far, in 3 years, borrowed 157 trillion.
And you need to watch this video to the end because it gets something where you need to answer at the end of this video.
Dear compatriots, members of the press, distinguished stakeholders, and friends of Nigeria across the world, we find it today expedient at a moment of profound national significance. The survival of our democracy, the integrity of our institutions, and the future of multi-party governance in Nigeria are tested in ways that demand vigilance, courage, clarity, and collective sacrifice. A few days ago, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, our president, while hosting his political support group, the Renewed Hope Ambassadors, the Nigerian opposition, particularly the African Democratic Congress, the ADC. Among those remarks was the characterization of the ADC National Convention as a noise and a street convention. We consider it not only necessary to respond, but to do so with historical clarity. Time was, in our contemporary history, when the language of resistance, dissent, and alternative political organization defined the very political identity of Bola Ahmed Tinubu as he then was. As an opposition leader, he campaigned and complained against the dangers of one-party dominance, mobilized against it, defended pluralism, and he relied on an independent judiciary as a shield against executive overreach. He stood for democratic contestation as the essence of a thriving democracy. It is therefore deeply troubling that the same democratic space that once enabled his rise now appears to be narrowing under his watch. We respectfully call on Mr. President to practice in governance the very principles he once advocated and championed while he was in the opposition, which were to protect dissent, uphold judicial independence, and to allow genuine democratic contestation to flourish. On the issue at hand, we acknowledge without hesitation that the ADC, our party, was faced with constraints in assessing a venue for its convention, and only with the people. What is described dismissively by Mr. President as a street event was in fact democracy in its most authentic and organic form, close to the people, held by the people, and celebrated by the Nigerian people and all lovers of liberty across the world. Beyond rhetoric lies a far more serious constitutional issue. The matters referenced by the President are currently before courts of competent jurisdiction, with imminent hearings at both the Supreme Courts and the Federal High Courts. In any constitutional democracy, restraint, especially by the executive, is not optional. It is statutory, consistent with the doctrines of the separation of power. The judiciary must decide matters before it independently, impartially, unambiguously, based on facts and in accordance with the law, without restriction, influences, coercion, or interference of any kind. This is particularly critical because judges entrusted with decisions affecting the lives, freedoms, rights, duties, property, and security of lives of citizens, as well as the stability of the nation. Recent developments raise even more troubling questions about imminent interference. We draw the attention of Nigerians, the international community, and development partners on election matters to the widely reported and publicly circulating indiscretionary, unguarded remarks by the President's Chief of Staff, our colleague and immediate past Speaker of the Ninth Assembly of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, directed at Honorable Abejide. In his remarks, he charged him to, and I shall quote, remain within the ranks of the ADC, fighting them and scattering them from within. He wished him success in the courts, assuring him that we are happy with you and you should continue to collaborate with Nafiu Bala while promising his continued support in their enterprise. It was no Freudian slip, it was an admission of complicity. These individuals, I will have you know, are currently engaged in litigation with the ADC. When the Chief of Staff to the President says, fight them and scatter them, we're happy with you, we will support you to triumph in the courts, it is safe to conclude that he does not speak in isolation. He conveys the leanings of the President and the Presidency. When such statements are made in the context of active litigation affecting the structure and leadership of the major opposition party, they cannot be dismissed as casual remarks. They raise legitimate concerns about coordinated efforts from the highest office of the land to influence outcomes, both politically and especially judicially. When key members of the President's inner circle consistently take positions that intersect with contested internal matters of an opposition party, and when such actions are neither debunked, disowned, disavowed, or corrected by the President or those around him, it creates a strong and unavoidable perception of executive complicity. Taking together with the President's own public comments on matters that are sub judice, these developments present a pattern that cannot be ignored. They suggest not isolated incidents, but a broader approach that risks undermining opposition politics and weakening democratic balance, leveraging the judiciary. For the avoidance of doubt, the leadership transition within the ADC was conducted in full compliance of the law. We must also address growing concerns regarding the role of the Independent National Electoral Commission. Recent actions by INEC have raised serious questions about its consistency, its neutrality, and institutional independence. Developments suggest uneven administrative responses, delays affecting opposition activities, and a perception of selective engagement. Particularly instructive is the Commission's handling of the leadership issues within the ADC, including matters relating to His Excellency Senator David A. Bonaventure Mark, by appearing to recognize one stream of leadership while disregarding ongoing internal processes and pending disputes. The Commission clearly stepped beyond its constitutional mandate. An independent electoral umpire must not be seen to choose sides, because in a democracy, perception is as important as procedure. Section 88 of the 2026 clearly provides that the internal affairs of political parties are to be determined exclusively by the parties themselves. At this point, it is important to place on record that we, the legislators who speak today, are not strangers to defend of democracy in Nigeria. Many of us were active participants in the historic invocation of the doctrine of necessity in 2010, following the illness and eventual passing of the late President Umar Musa Yar'Adua. That intervention preserved constitutional order at a critical moment and prevented a national crisis. Similarly, several of us played roles in resolving the political crises in Rivers and Kogi states, helping to stabilize democratic governance at a time of severe institutional strain. In all instances, we acted non-partisan, but as patriots committed to our national interest. It is from that same position that we speak today, Our intervention, while partisan, is more importantly the principled stance for the defense, stability, and protection of democracy and preservation of our beloved country. Across Nigeria and beyond, there is a growing concern that the trajectory of governance. Questions are being asked quietly but persistently about whether current developments signal a drift towards concentration of power beyond constitutional limits, a tyrannical push for life presidency as is now witnessed in several African countries. It must be clearly stated, the president, while bequeathed with multiple omnibus powers, one power he does not possess by the Constitution or by any other authority is the power to alter or extend constitutional limits unilaterally. We must reiterate that there is a clear difference between tyranny of the majority and true democracy. There is a difference between the liberal civil rule and a system grounded in democratic contestation. There is a difference between constitutional governance and authoritarian subjugation. Nigeria, our country, must remain firmly on the side of true democracy. Resisting overreach by Mr. President is not subversion. It is a constitutional right, and it is the duty of all citizens. It is appropriate, and indeed it is patriotic. To the judiciary, we reiterate, this is a defining moment. The tipping point, the nation's 11th hour for survival. Your independence must remain sacrosanct. Your integrity, like Lady Justice, must be unquestionable, and your patriotism unapologetic. Your decision will determine the drift. The Constitution must be your only guide. To our dear President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we say respectfully to you, the Nigerian democracy must not be weakened by the very forces that once fought to build it. The preservation of the democratic space is not a favor to the opposition. It's a duty owed to the nation, and we intend to cash it. To Nigerians everywhere, this is a moment for eternal vigilance. Democracy does not defend itself. It survives only when citizens, you and I, institutions and leaders commit to its protection. In conclusion, Nigeria must remain a nation governed by law, not by expediency, by robust institutions, not strong individuals, and by the collective will of the people, not predetermined outcomes. Let the judiciary act without interference. Let the opposition thrive without intimidation. Let the citizens participate without fear. Nigeria's democracy belongs to its people, and it must be protected and defended by us all. We remain committed as a party, as a body, and as citizens to defending it through all lawful means, through the courts, through civic engagement, and at the ballot box. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and I thank you very much for listening.
Honorable Senator Dino Melaye.
I want to lean on existing protocol because of my size and weight. If I stand on the protocol, I may break the protocol. So I'm leaning on existing protocol. I'm not going to make a comment without appreciating the eloquent presentation of Honorable Naira Account, which definitely capture the entirety of our reasoning and the state of affairs in our nation. Mine is just to roll out a few statistics on the new low we have attained as a nation. We have never been where we are today in this country. If one had told me that we are going to have a Nigeria like this, I would definitely argue it. Amnesty International just released an evaluation and assessment that since the inception of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, over 10,000 Nigerians have lost their lives. Over 10,000 Nigerians. That is what Amnesty International gave. But we know that it's more than double that amount. Because in Benue alone, over 6,000 people have died within the time that President Bola Ahmed took over. That's the statistics by Amnesty International. In Plateau, over 2,000 people have lost their lives according to Amnesty International. It's so sad that in the last 3 years, we've lost 2 brigadier generals to Boko Haram. This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing. And I begin to ask myself, they are not just brigadier generals, they are commanding officers of their garrisons. And I ask myself, if this happened in America, will Trump be comfortable in the White House that an American general was murdered, killed like a chicken, and nothing happened? By terrorists. Nobody arrested, nobody interrogated, and we continued as a nation as business as usual. Only one pilot was missing in Iran. America mobilized everything possible to rescue that pilot. But we have a president who doesn't care. Judiciary is on test. We want to see what they will do. And the whole world is watching to see what they will do. I won't say more than that. I also want to say, with subsidy, Buhari borrowed 87 trillion naira in 8 years. Please take notes. With subsidy, Muhammadu Buhari borrowed 87 trillion in 8 years. Without subsidy, Tinubu, so far, in 3 years, borrowed 157 trillion. 157 trillion in 3 years. I want anybody to show me what we have done with that money. This is the first time in the history of the world where a $13 billion infrastructure project, which is the highest in the history of Africa, was awarded without bidding. Awarded to a Lebanese friend. The same Lebanese friend that Tinubu carried our second highest national honors, exclusively reserved for the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, GCON, put it in a briefcase and exported it to Paris to decorate a business partner, a Lebanese man. This is not the Nigeria that Awolowo dreamed of. This is not the Nigeria that Azikiwe spoke of. This is not the Nigeria that Sardauna Amadu Bello labored for. Really, may the labor of our heroes past never goes in vain. As I wrap up, you will see from his speech when he was addressing his coordinators a few days ago, Mr. President prompted Judiciary because he called our convention illegal. So he has constituted himself to now be in a court. He has the power to declare what is legal and what is illegal for a matter that is pending in court. And as at today, no court in Nigeria have pronounced our convention illegal. But addressing his coordinators, he was giving a body language and signal to the judiciary by addressing our convention illegal when no court said so. That is prompting the judiciary. That is very unprecedented. Very, very unprecedented. only someone with arthritis of the brain will react in such manner. And he went further in that interview to even say that to show desperation, to show that he's confused. He even told us that we want to scare him. For saying we want to scare him shows that he's already scared. And really, we are going to scare him. We will continue to scare him. Out of that desperation, he said, him and Buhari now, that they are the same. That he is the reincarnation of Buhari. And this is Tinubu from Irakpiji in Osun State. Buhari from Daura in Katsina State. Where they jam. Meanwhile, every loyalist of Buhari is either in jail or being harassed. And yet you say you and Buhari, you are the same. It shows that he is a man that is holding on to the straw. He's appealing to the sentiments of the North because his days are numbered. And finally, I want to call on all members of ADC across the country that in an unjust society, silence is a crime. All tyrants in the world, when confronted, are cowards. We must put on our seatbelts. The battle to rescue this country must be a battle of no retreat, no surrender. Every one of us must speak, not minding whose else is God. Where we need to protest, we will protest because Nigeria belongs to all of us. Government is not owned by those in government. Government is owned by the people. Democracy will continue to be government of the people, by the people, and for the people. We will not allow Tinubu's type of democracy. Government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu by Sheyi Tinubu for the Chagoris. We will not allow that. So please, arise, O compatriots. ADC call, obey. Tinubu is the most intolerant president in the world. He's the only governor in the history of the world who had 3 deputy governors in his term. 3 deputy governors in his term. And as president, already he has 3 national chairmen. The man who midwife his election to success, Abla Adamu, few weeks after he became president, he removed him. Ganduje heard the announcement of his removal on TV. This is the 3rd national chairman of APC in less than 3 years. Shows that he's the most intolerant person. My final word to Tinubu is this. I call Chairman Maho. Those who make peaceful change impossible, make violent change inevitable. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, Honorable Senator.
Congratulations to every Nigerian who have watched to this point. And my own admonition to you is, how many of you who are registered voters in Nigeria will be going all out to register as members of ADC? Because myself, I must definitely complete that registration for the first time as a member of any political party. Please do that. And who do you think will emerge ADC presidential candidate? That is what I have for you right here. Help me share this video to everyone. I'm signing out. Bye-bye for now.